I'm taking you to the special Hokusai exhibition. I got my sunscreen on because it's like 90s outside. Hopefully it's going to be not painful, so let's go. By the way, I forgot to mention, look at my earrings. They're my Hokusai earrings. What a nice day. Wow. Perfect for a museum trip. Now I don't like these sunglasses anymore. I don't like how it looks. Oh well, that's the only pair I have right now. On my way to this exhibition, I wanted to give you basic information. So Hokusai is known for his wood panel works, especially 36 views of Mount Fuji is among them. And among these 36 pieces of art, as you know, the most famous one is this, the Great Way of the Kanagawa. He was apprenticed as a carpenter at the age of 14. So his mastery on woodwork is coming from there. Hokusai exhibition was divided into 5, and the first one was his influence on other artists. And you can see here Hokusai's figure drawings. They are usually of artists who are getting ready to perform a play on a stage. But also you see similar artists who were either his students or some artists that who was actually be inspired by him. What I realized was the amount of detail in these drawings and paintings were amazing, and the mastery on using the ink. I actually loved these separators, these platforms. I really wanted to have them in my house because they were not only telling a nice spring day story, but also it included all these cultural details in it from Japan. And you can see some golden shine there, you can see some gold effect, but more than the colors, as you can see in a lot of Eastern art, there's more negative space and there's more, let's say, calmness in these paintings. And you don't see so many details, for example, like grass or flowers, but they are mostly like 2 or 3 tones of green or blue, and that's it. That kind of puts nature closer with the human figures. None of them is overpowering the other. Look at that, it's amazing. And you can see the negative space more here in these drawings. You can see how nature is included in all these figure drawings. Interior of a house in Yoshiwara, it included amazing amount of details that I couldn't wrap my head around. I think I looked at this painting maybe like 10 minutes. There's so much going on here. I just imagined myself drawing these and painting these. I just felt like I felt overwhelmed right away. Such a mastery. And this is a panel of 5, and you can see that the size is not actually very big, so the figures were really small. And here you see different flowers, one with outlines, one with no outline at all, and one has no color at all. This shows how, again, and same goes with the butterflies, this plays a trick on your brain about what's there and what's not, what has border, what's not, what's nature, and what is not? By the way, I will try to give you some information about Hokusai along the way. The sketchbooks that he has is maybe one of his most famous works. Also, did you know that he created over 30,000 artworks in his life? Wow. He worked with a very fast-paced energy. He would wake up early and then he would continue late at night. He created paintings, sketches, woodblock prints, picture books, and even some saucy erotic illustrations, one of which you will see at the end. Look how detailed his sketchbook looks. It's amazing. I would love to have that. And this 3-woman work was amazing for me. One is geisha, one is a palace maid, and the other one is a farmer. Another interesting thing about Hokusai, he was expelled from school that trained him because he was getting influenced by French and Dutch engravings. Like he was getting too much influenced by Western culture. And the school didn't like that. His work revolutionized the ukiyo-e art style that we have been seeing here, and he definitely brought a new, fresh breath. He was expelled from Katsukawa school, but it turned out to be a blessing in disguise, because then Hokusai will say that what really motivated the development of my artistic style was the embarrassment I suffered at Shunko's hands. Shunko is basically his professor at Katsukawa school. As you can see from these painting labels, Katsushika Hokusai lived in between the years of 1760 and 1846, but he was most active. He was maybe at height of his career when he was 60. Yeah, 60. Hokusai's most important and most well-known work was produced after he reached 60 years old. At the time, he was creating woodblock prints of various subjects, including waterfalls, bridges, birds, and flowers, which we will see in a second. And his largest work was a set of 4,000 sketches in 14 volumes. I mean those sketchbooks that you have seen, which were published in 1814. Look at these details, guys. Amazing. Hokusai changed his name a lot. While it's not uncommon for Japanese artists to change their names, Hokusai was known by at least 30 different names during his lifetime, more than any other artist of his era. And he first published a series of work in 1779, and they were released under the name Shunro, given by his first master Shunsho, who expelled him from the school. Anyway, later in life, he referred to himself as Gakkyo Rojin Manji, the old man mad about art, and his names were often used to identify different styles and periods of production. And this is an ink set. This is where they were keeping their inks and waters. So fancy. Now, this was the moment, guys, for me. I saw the iconic print, The Great Wave of Kanagawa, in person. I saw people staring at this wave for more than 20 minutes. This is a very famous ukiyo-e print, but the most famous Japanese artwork in the eyes of the world is this. So it combines both nature's beauty and terrifying power. You see in this painting 3 vessels that are endangered by the big wave, and the fishermen are rowing for their lives. Probably they are returning home to the area of present-day Yokohama. And Mount Fuji in the background is basically the only landscape that we see, and it's a symbol of hope that the boats will return home safely. So this painting gives you horror and hope at the same time. And then the exhibition continues with the modern art that was influenced by Hokusai artwork. I think these were incredibly smart and one of the most interesting part of the whole exhibition. So the Great Wave painting that we just saw belongs to the 36 views of Mount Fuji, but actually there are more than 36 prints in 36 views of Mount Fuji. Basically, they are paintings, they are prints of Mount Fuji being in each one of them. This series was completed between 1826 and 1833, and despite the title, it actually has 46 prints showing Mount Fuji in different seasons and weather conditions and with different emotions. I really like this bathing suit style. I think this was one of my favorites. And look at the watercolor style, watercolor technique here. Wow. Hats off. Hats off, hats off, hats off. So we had the influence section, which had mostly figures. Then we had waves section. And then we have now landscape section, in which we see lots of landscapes from Hokusai, especially bridges and rivers. One of the most important thing to know here is usually this bridge view is as if it was made by someone who is on a boat that are crossing under the bridge. And tell you what, different from Western art, these landscapes didn't have many details, but then its simplicity gives this more, how can I say, natural energy to you, that you would be more drawn to it and you want to understand it more, because it is familiar, but also it is different. It makes you look at it. If this painting was, for example, super hyper realistic landscape, I would just be in awe, but I wouldn't look with a different angle. But now I'm doing it, and I think this is the power of Eastern art. And I loved Hokusai's colors in this one. As you know, Claude Monet was influenced by Japanese art a lot, and Hokusai's bridges was very inspiring for him, and this famous piece of him also was inspired by Hokusai art. Look how simple and yet breathtaking this waterfall looks. This is what I'm saying. You don't have to have a complicated painting to make it outstanding. We see lots of waterfalls here, and also we see a lot of bridges and ocean and lots of blue color as well. Did you know he had planned to live until 110 years old? He was convinced that he would see his best work when he reached 110. He fully embraced old age and had big plans for each milestone after 50. And he said often, "When I am 80, you will see real progress. At 90, I shall have cut my way deeply into the mystery of life itself. At 100, I shall be marvelous artist. And 110, everything I create, a dot, a line, will jump to life as never before. To all of you who are going to live as long as I do, I promise to keep my word. I'm writing this in my old age." But unfortunately, he didn't see 110 and passed away aged 88. On this deathbed, he apparently said, "If only heaven will give me just another 10 years, just another 5 more years, then I could become a real painter." Talk about perfectionism here. We are in the 4th section, which is the nature part. We have mostly animals and flowers here, and the flowers are always kind of banded with wind. They have this energy, and you see fish mostly, and because Japan is an island and fish is very common. And in a lot of Hokusai paintings, you see octopus and fish. And octopus has a different meaning, which I will explain in the next section. Look at this. There's actually 2 panels of glass here. There were some artifacts like these, which I didn't pay attention a lot, but hey, they were cute and very detailed as well. It takes you to those years in Japan. I like this abstract piece. The colors were very charming. This is Hokusai's flower series. Please pay attention to the energy of the flowers, and there's always an animal by the flowers, and that animal is on your eye level. This is one of the things that you need to pay attention to. As if you're smelling those flowers and you're hearing the bees buzzing, the bird chirping. The 5th part of Hokusai was storytelling, and this stuff was creepy a little bit. You know, these are basically masks from, again, stage plays, but at the same time, they look like they're surrealistic paintings to me. They provoke so many emotions in the audience. That supernatural side of him was something that I had never heard of, and I really enjoyed going through his drawings. That made me think more out of the box and more surrealistic. The mention of the plates, the 100 Ghost Stories series. Yeah, it's spooky, I know. So this was an interesting piece. Chehalis Hegner was inspired by Hokusai, but not directly. Hegner explains their artwork like this. My work includes a focus on the liberation of women from oppression by men. So it's important that my piece not be presented as an imitation or reaction to Hokusai's dream of the fisherman's wife. Hokusai made his image from a masculine point of view from outside of his subject, while my piece was made from within the female perspective. The picture was made in response to a nightmare I had while at the seaside in Liguria. I created chastity belt to embody my tangle of thoughts and feelings about eroticism, feminism, rape, and overwhelming feelings of engulfment by male energies, all within the context of the identical saline solution of the womb and sea. Let's talk about Hokusai's erotic paintings. The dream of fisherman's wife, octopus was used as the part of sexuality. And this is what the previous artist was referring to. Now let's talk about manga. Did you know he was the first artist to use the term manga? Well, it means, roughly, random drawings. And the term is now more commonly known as a type of Japanese comic that conforms to a style developed in Japan in the late 19th century. At the age of 51, in 1811, Hokusai created the Hokusai manga, which contained amusing images for his students and other aspiring artists to copy. And it became very quickly bestseller and one of the earliest recorded uses of term manga. Look at these surrealistic drawings right here with long legs. Again, this is a spooky drawing from Hokusai. So these all are considered as manga and his detailed sketchbooks. Probably the highlight of the whole exhibition, if you don't count the wave, the Great Wave. And you see other artists here too who were influenced by him. Again, with the colors and the waves and the manga style that he had. Again, this is a panel of 3 telling a story. Storytelling is huge in Japanese art, and these mangas are mind-blowing. Guys, this is one of my favorite pieces. Can you look at the color coordination, the technique, and the details and everything on this one? In Museum of Fine Arts Boston, when you get out of this exhibition, this is what you see. A very inviting cafe. Too inviting that I had to have a cup of coffee. I realized that I need to study more Eastern art because, you know, me subconsciously kind of more fed into Western art, and I realized that Eastern art is very rich and I want to know more about it, especially the way that they view is so different. They look at the nature, they look at people from a very different perspective, and their storytelling is amazing. I feel like in many Western art I don't see this kind of storytelling, that kind of takes you into the painting and makes you think. I think one of the most interesting thing about what I saw there in Hokusai exhibition, it was the attention to detail and how floating the fashion and the colors that were used. All the mastery on using the ink was completely breathtaking. I really enjoyed. I'm going to visit more Eastern art exhibitions from now on, definitely. And I'm going to read about it more too, and I'm going to share with you more. So I hope you like this vlog, helpful guys. Try to go as many exhibitions as possible for you, so I'll see you in the next one. I had actually visited MFA before and also MoMA in New York. If you want to watch those, I'm just going to put them right here for you.